Welcome back to The Final Pop. My name is Alvin Ramirez.
And I'm Juan Jimenez, and this is our mini podcast segment, Before the Pop, where we give you our initial thoughts on a movie. And today's movie is Heretic.
Yes.
We are literally outside the movie theater, in the rain, in the truck.
And we actually are watching it 6 days
Exactly.
before the launch.
That's right.
So
special screening here in Salt Lake City.
So it all works out, guys. First things first. First of all, did you see the trailer?
I saw the trailer.
Okay.
I saw the trailer, I think, during one of our recent movies. I didn't pay attention to it too much.
Right.
Because it looked weird, but it is a A24 film.
Exactly.
And so far, A24 films have been putting out really good movies.
Oh, yeah.
Now, going into this movie, I was skeptical. I knew it was going to be like a horror.
Right.
And I knew it involved
religion.
Yeah.
Specifically
the Mormon religion.
Yeah.
So, and the reason on why I specifically say here in Salt Lake City is because I feel, and just based on how the movie went, I know why Megaplex isn't showing it.
Oh.
Can I give you my reason?
Oh.
I know this is a little bit controversial. So Megaplex is owned by the Larry H. Miller Company.
Right.
Larry H. Miller is a very LDS family. They've been here for a while.
Sure.
So I feel like them promoting this movie or putting them in theaters feels like they're sending a bad message. And it's against their belief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
So I think that's why we can't find Megaplex showing this movie.
Yeah.
We had to go to an AMC. So
pretty much, yeah.
to see it. So that's one. That's one.
That's a good point.
What were your thoughts before going to watch this movie?
So my thoughts, it's kind of like yours. I knew that it was about Mormons, and I knew that it was a horror movie as well. I was a little intrigued, and I was kind of skeptical that it was going to be a good movie, but then I realized, A24.
Yeah.
They make amazing movies.
Yeah.
So we gave it a shot, and oh my gosh, I'm honestly kind of blown away.
You're blown away?
I'm genuinely saying this. This is a really, really good movie for it being a very touchy subject.
I think there's two type of people that are gonna go watch this movie.
Yep.
You know, and that is the people that just don't have a religion, or you know, and then there's people that have a religion, but they're gonna try to fight what they're seeing.
And that's kind of what resembles in the movie as well.
Yeah.
Is this back and forth of belief or disbelief.
Yeah.
And I think this is one of the, like I said, it's very controversial, but they did it very smoothly.
They did.
Because there's still an ending where you can still kind of say, yay, Mormons, let's go.
Yeah.
But there isn't necessarily, throughout the whole movie, they're just bashing on it.
Yeah.
They're bashing on everything.
Not just Mormons, too.
On
they're
every religion.
They're bashing on a lot of religions.
Exactly.
That's basically the movie is saying every religion has been watered down from its, like, main religion, and that all religion right now is not the true religion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the real true religion is control.
Yeah.
And that's basically
control over
what
people.
Yeah.
And you know what hurt so much? That, because I come from a Catholic background.
Right.
And we do the same thing as the Mormon church, and that is when the disaster happens, when a hurricane goes through, whatever, what type of relief, there goes the missionaries, not just to help, but their main purpose is like, here, join our church so we can help you and this and that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's all over.
They're salesmen.
They're basic, and that's another one.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of hear like a what? Like you're basically selling you're basically selling, and the product being religion or your type of religion.
The idea of religion.
Or the idea, yeah. You're selling the idea of like faith and, you know, whatever your religion is, you're the salesman.
Okay,
that's
so
it.
Here's my question to you. Since you are religious, or you used to be, I don't know anymore. I don't know if you are still praying or not, but what were your, I guess, critiques on the movie when it did come to those big questions about religion? Do you feel like it's necessary to ask those questions and be skeptical, or do you think it's just about faith?
I think it comes from person to person.
Right.
Because there's people that grew up religiously, like strong, like very, very conservative, and no matter what you throw at them, no matter what you do,
they're stubborn.
They're very stubborn. They don't ask questions.
Yeah.
They don't ask questions, and they're like inside a bubble, inside a bubble. And one thing that the guy said, I forgot his name, Reed, that kind of resonated with me, and this is why I kind of pushed religion a little bit aside, is that the more you look into religion, the more you try to find questions, the more you see that you remove the smoke, and you start seeing the faults, how false your religion is.
Exactly, and that's what he said. The more you know, the less you know.
Yeah.
And that's very, very true, because for me, I've always been agnostic / atheist. Like, I don't necessarily consider myself atheist 100% because I don't really know.
Yeah.
I'm never going to know. Nobody ever is going to know. But with this movie, it gave me a certain perspective that it didn't only make me question whether or not religion or this or that, but everything that has to do with humanity. And it started from the beginning as well, when they were talking about condoms.
Yeah.
They were talking about this marketing scheme where, they just lie to make things believable. And that kind of goes with everything, with religion, with money, with social standards, with fucking gender, with everything. And maybe religion is just one of those subjects that everybody gets very, very defensive about.
Yeah.
And maybe, this might be kind of messed up to say, but maybe we are just like parasites to Earth.
Yeah.
And
I've thought about that too.
Yeah,
like,
because we are just destroying everything.
Yeah.
We're making everything for ourselves.
Yeah.
But in the same time, we're also ruining the world in a way.
I don't think we're like a parasite. I think we're like a virus more to the Earth. Because I feel like the Earth, it tries to fight back on what we're doing with it. And, going back to the subject of religion, it is very touchy. And the way this movie kind of like camouflages it to just ordinary stuff. Like, he put an example of music.
Yeah. It's very true.
And it's very true. And like just
the board games,
the
Bible.
music, and the Bible, just disguised in a different way.
Basically, and it's just iterations. It loses the value over time.
Yeah.
And you got to think about all the gods that were born on December 25th, like Jesus, right? And every single one has the same story, but they all have the same kind of background of being this, supposed right religion.
Yeah. Well, he was basically trying to say, and this is just, twisting the words a little bit, is that everybody had the same script. Everybody had the same plot. Yeah. It's just, it was just a battle of who did it better and who can dominate more. And
one more thing is, and I've thought about this before, is that books that we're making right now, movies that we're making right now, what if in 1,000 or 2,000 or 1,000,000 years from now, people are going to be looking at Jar Jar Binks as their new Jesus?
Yeah.
And those type of things kind of go into my mind, like, yeah, that's so true. And I've always thought that the Bible was just a folk story, like Adam and Eve just being I felt like everything was just subjective.
Yeah.
And it didn't really make sense, but that's probably why my faith in God or religion has always been skewed. Now, going back to the movie, I do have one more question, and this might be, how do I say it?
Offensive?
Not offensive, no. Would you recommend it for a Mormon to watch it?
Oh, man. That's
I know.
a hard one. Again, I think...
Because it's a great movie.
I'm going back to, it depends on the person if they're willing to, how hard-headed they are.
Exactly.
Because there's a reason on why, Megapex won't show it. Exactly. And that is to not let people question. It's not to let people start questioning. That's what I mean. Because as soon as you start to question, then just things go haywire. Because that's what happened to the girls too. As soon as the first question that popped into their mind, where's the wife?
Yeah.
They were okay at the beginning. They went inside the house, but they start asking questions. It starts with just one little drop of doubt for people to start questioning. Yeah. And that's what happened to the girl, and that's what I think that's the same with religion, because he started small. Yeah. Right? Just asking small questions.
Exactly.
He was asking questions the whole time. And so he was like, oh, what happened to
the first question was about misogyny. Or no, not misogyny.
Polygamy.
Polygamy, yeah.
Right there. That's the first question that sprouted like doubt.
Exactly.
But it wasn't enough. Because they would try to deflect, like, we'll talk
we
about
try
our
to
issue.
take it out of our whatever and
Yeah.
not include it anymore.
And that's another subject that I saw. Polygamy doesn't exist anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because me being Catholic, I know the popes back in the day, they were like presidents. They had power.
Oh, yeah.
So if they said like, kill all the kids, or
Sure.
like
What kind of pope would say that?
it was the popes that sent out like people to get killed.
Yeah.
So all that has changed, and it's the same with Mormonism, and it's the same with a whole bunch of religions where they start tweaking.
Yeah.
But those tweaks are made from humans and all that stuff.
I do want to touch on one subject on the introduction of Mormonism through Joseph Smith.
Uh-huh.
And I've heard about him so many times. I've heard his story. I know, I guess, the right and the wrong. And I guess with this movie, it did bring a little bit more light to who he really was. And it's all just hearsay, right?
Yeah.
But if this is all true, and the fact that he just kind of, made up all these rules just to, like, have an affair and have sex with 16-year-olds and, increase the population of Utah, for example. To me, that just feels like it's kind of what you're saying, that that popes back then had all this power.
Yeah.
And this person just wanted that same kind of power.
When they were talking about that specifically, about polygamy, it reminded me of the show Under the Banner of Heaven.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it was a true Mormonism, right?
Yeah, true Mormonism.
And it's the people that are in these weird camps where they still practice polygamy, and it's not here in Utah. I think it's up in Arizona near St. George. But yeah, it's just they're tweaking religion.
Pretty much.
And
to their benefit.
To their benefit, yeah. So it's everywhere. It's in the Catholic Church. It's in Mormonism. I'm pretty sure you can find it in every religion has tweaked their rules to make it look more joinable.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So
because I remember the church also hated blacks and they
Yeah.
hated the gay people.
Yep.
And just recently, I've been hearing that during their conference, I overheard a whole bunch of testimonies from gay couples, and I was like, "What? The Mormon Church
The Mormon
is
Church.
having a small place in."
And I remember that conversation that I was having, and it was the defined reason on why they did it. Money.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
money.
yeah.
They're not getting enough people, so
That's
they
right.
need to let everybody in.
Yeah,
they need the blacks, they need the gays, and that way they can have a little bit more income coming through.
Yeah. It's all capitalism.
Exactly.
Just like you said.
It's a business.
It's all capitalism, just like the monopoly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, anyway.
And they don't get taxed.
That's right. Yeah.
So there you go.
So it's a
all right.
It's a win-win.
We're just dogging on Mormons.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, you guys deserve the reputation, but I don't know. It's one of those things where you guys have all the power, you guys have all the money, you guys don't pay taxes, you guys have all the negative, history, yet you still thrive now.
Yeah. Every religion has had negative.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just Mormon.
Oh, I know. It's every religion. And
Yeah.
I mean, Mormons are basically just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah, man.
Yeah. It's a weird subject. We don't know nothing about religion. We're just talking our minds right now.
Pretty much. But we did know that this movie was going to cause havoc in this type of community.
Yeah,
and
especially here in Utah.
Especially in Utah. So whether or not people are going to love the movie, I don't know. But for us, especially for me at least, I really enjoyed this movie. And I think we're ready for scores. Are you ready for scores?
Yes, I enjoyed this movie.
Great.
Yeah.
All right. So for me, with the horror aspect to it and, the fact that it had a spicy plot to it as well, I did enjoy everything. I enjoyed the cast that we got. I guess the only downside of this movie would have to be the ending. And the ending is basically the lady, grab the board with nails and strike the guy, right?
Yeah.
But apparently she was dead, supposedly.
No, she was...
She could still live,
Yeah.
but in my mind, I'm like, she just got her, throat cut.
Yeah.
That's one of those, things that kill you kind of instantly,
Yeah.
or at least pretty fast.
Yeah.
And you don't survive that. And she was running around the house trying to figure it out. She was trying to, get under stuff. And I'm pretty sure in the time that she did all that, that other girl would have been dead already.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I'm like, well, I can't really, do or say anything else about that. It was one of those kind of cheap endings for me. Now, if, for example, the lady that played the dead person that came back to life was the one that did that for her, then, she was like, I'm tired of working for that guy or whatever, then maybe I would have been, okay, fair enough. This one lady got free and decided to kill.
He got, I mean, to be fair, and we're not talking about scores anymore.
I know. We skewed.
We skewed. To be fair,
we'll come back to
there's
it.
a science to that a little bit, because it was a razor blade.
True.
And razor blades are thinner.
Thin.
So you don't bleed out right away.
You could still hold your throat and not bleed out too much.
It's a cleaner cut. You can still hold your, but you'll bleed out.
Yeah.
If it was a knife, if it was a machete, whatever, I would totally understand her dying quick. But it was a blade. It was a.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that is a good point. All right. So, scores.
All right, let's talk about scores, you guys.
Yeah. With everything.
Wait. I do want to say
one more thing.
No. Before we finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you leave the theater different than how you went in?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I got a lot of information from that movie.
Okay.
And I'm really into that kind of like those type of conversations. There was a little, what was it? A little painting or something about Dante's Inferno, and about all the levels of hell, like a little small shot. And a little bit of a part of me was like, wow, like there's so many small little details that come about religion.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I'm not necessarily a big religion guy, but I love the stories that come with it, and the little,
the
arcs and mystery and everything's good about that. And with this movie, I felt like I learned a little bit more with the different types of gods or Jesuses that came out. I didn't know about that. And there was apparently like 13 or 15, something like that. So that's cool. I felt like I learned something with this movie.
Okay.
And, I think that's better than nothing. What about you? Did you feel like any different?
Yeah, I think if I learned anything, it's how your belief can manipulate your outcome, because he was playing a long game and the girls had their own belief, right? By being trusting, I guess, or by trusting their gut or their religion or whatever, they kept going deeper and deeper and deeper. Because if you think about it, like they were on the same plane, and they went into the first room was the start, and then the second room, and then down, and then that still continued down, and then there's little small rooms after that. Yeah. Now, can that be like the levels of hell? Yeah,
which is actually where I was going before.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought that's what this movie was going towards.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, we're going to get the 7 levels. And he's going to actually go deep into the conversations about, the greed and envy and lust and all that. So,
which maybe we did see it. Maybe we just didn't catch it.
Maybe.
Because she opened several doors. Because first it's the living room, then it's like the church place. And then when you go downstairs to where the prophet was.
Yep, and then you go down to that cellar.
And then you go down to the cellar, and then you enter this cold place. But she went through 2 or 3 more rooms.
Yeah, pretty much.
That had symbols.
Yeah.
Each door had symbol. Yeah. So maybe it was maybe it was the 7 levels of hell. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll have to do a rewatch.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways,
scores.
This is scores. This is scores now.
Yep. I'll go first.
You'll go first. Okay.
It's a simple score. It's a simple movie, and I loved everything about it. My score for Heretic is a solid 95.
Nice. Okay.
Thank you. All right. What about you, sir?
It was a 95.
Really?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And you know what? I would like to give it, because if you were to tell me right now, like, what's something bad that you saw about this? And I'm like, nothing much. I really enjoyed it. I was at the edge of the seat. Now, it wasn't a horror film. I feel like it wasn't a horror film.
It wasn't as much, no.
It wasn't
There was a few moments.
Yeah, it's mostly just tiny jump scares, but that's because the music or the thing was like, right in your face. Oh, man, I don't know. There was nothing wrong with this movie other than just making you rethink your faith a little bit and why you're here in this earth. You know what? 97 for me.
97.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So if your score 97, my score is 95. Easy math today. We meet right in the middle at 96 for the before the pop score for Heretic. Now this score may change. We'll do a video tomorrow and see how that goes. But yeah,
Right.
there you go, guys. So thank you guys for listening. This has been The Final Pop. Make sure to go to our website at thefinalpop.com where you can review this movie as well.
And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at The Final Pop.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. And as always,
Stay entertained.